The fact that you've already been here, the fact that you've invested in that, just know that the next step is going to maybe feel as scary as the step it was for you to be here, and you're here. So you can do it.
A person's wealth is determined by their assets, investments, and things that they own. I say true wealth is about how you live it. Your girl is back. Welcome to season 2 of Wealth Within Reach. Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Wealth Within Reach. And I have another behind the scenes amazing conversation for you today. Okay. We're just on a quick little break, but we're going to have live episodes back to you very soon. But in the meantime, for all y'all who didn't come to the Owning and Living experience in 2024, I'm going to be bringing to you some really important, some of my favorite conversations from the conference, okay? So if you are watching this from YouTube, please subscribe so that you don't miss one single episode. And if you are listening from Apple or Spotify, be sure to leave us a 5-star review, okay? Five-star review, so that we can continue to grow this podcast and increase the exposure. The Owning and Living experience is coming back in 2025. Yes, we are coming back in the fall so that you don't miss out when those early bird tickets launch, because they will come with a really sweet discount. I want to make sure you go to the show notes here, click the link so that you can join the wait list, so that you are notified when those early bird tickets are dropped, because this is going to be a really sweet discount. I mean, really sweet. So you don't want to miss that. So without further ado, I have an amazing episode for you today. Go ahead, check it out.
We have an amazing panel that is going to join me on stage, some women that I admire and respect. First, we have Christina Mineo. In just under 5 years, Christina has built a diverse and thriving portfolio of rental properties, full gut rehab, multifamily homes, furnished mid-rental homes, new builds, and lucrative flips. She's uniquely gifted with both financial acumen and fervor for creativity. Welcome, Christina, to the stage. Adrienne Sherwood is an investor-friendly realtor in Atlanta. She's passionate about helping women and minorities bridge the wealth gap through home ownership and real estate investing. And Stephanie Bahari, our Canadian sister. After a 10-year career in corporate finance, Stephanie's 2 kids gave her the push into self-employment. She was on a mission to build a life that was more flexible. Stephanie brings together her knowledge as a CPA and her experience as a real estate investor to create a winning combo to get out of the confusion and overwhelm of real estate. All of these women happen to be moms. But whether you are a mother by birth or a mother by choice or a community mother or a caregiver, we're all pushing our next generation forward. And so we all deserve a hand clap. So go ahead and give yourselves a clap for that. As women in a male-dominated industry, how do you navigate feeling intimidated or underestimated by contractors or other professionals? Let's start with Adrienne, who's been...
Hello, everybody. How you doing? All right, good. I have a very quick story. So I am working with 2 new clients as a realtor, and they're both alpha males. I'm friends with their wives, and I help them buy their primary residence, but they're 6'3", 225 plus, and then in personality, large men as well. But anyways, I think 2 things. One, I try to set clear expectations up front. So I told them, this is my fees, this is when it could be negotiable, but right now it's not. So I try to get ahead of those things. And then the second thing I do is I try to make an impression pretty quickly. So I walked a property with them recently, and they thought it was going to be a property that they just had to do landscaping and then put it on the market and sell. And y'all, it was atrocious. We walked it and I was like trying not to, So we got outside and I looked at them and I said, guys, if y'all want a reason to talk every day, I will just call you. I said, this is not a house you need to buy. And they kind of looked at each other and chuckled a little bit, oh gosh, she kind of called us out on this. But I felt like I did it in a way that was respectful and also showing my expertise. And so those are the 2 things that I try to do, is just set expectations and then make an impression early.
Yes. When you said make an impression early, I said period. Absolutely. Because you are a expert in your own right, and regardless of your gender, it's important to be taken seriously. So I enjoy that you know, are cognizant about that. Anyone else have how you navigate feeling intimidated, or do you feel intimidated in the male-dominated industry?
I definitely feel intimidated, especially I've been involved in projects as an owner and designer. And even being as an owner, contractors or other people involved will make you double guess your own decision making, or they'll question what you're doing. And some ways that I get over that is like, one, just fake it till I make it, even if I don't know what I'm talking about, or two, try to do as much research as I can beforehand. And if I don't know something, I ask without shrinking. So I make sure my voice doesn't quiver. I try to watch my body language, because they're watching that too. And their body language is what's communicating the intimidation, whether it's conscious or not. So I just try to watch those things and be very clear.
How do you know the difference between when you were growing and your confidence and how you approach your conversations?
Well, I just feel like if we're starting a project, this has to go well. I cannot do this project and be disrespected. Like, that's not an option. So even if I have a contractor, for example, that has really good recommendations, we got on a good price, but he has a bad attitude, I will fire you. Like, I will find somebody else. I'm just not going to take it. So I just want to make sure they get that vibe from me.
That's a New Yorker in you. She said, no. I'm in Georgia, but no, I'm not doing that.
I will fire you.
Are you from New York, or you just,
Yes.
yeah, okay, she kept it 100, yes, give her a clap for that. What about you? You're in, I don't know if it's a lot different in Canada or than it is here. Have you ever experienced that for you?
So yeah, I definitely have. And I think that for me, knowledge is power. For me, it's always about educating myself, getting the right resources, and making sure I know what I'm talking about. And when I step in there and I'm talking to those people that are potentially talking down to me, I think I can shine through knowing what I'm talking about. And so I've always leaned into that. It's also just the confidence that you have when you approach these type of people. So I've worked on, showing up and making sure I'm talking confidently. Obviously, it's always a work in progress. But I think at the end of the day, if you're not getting the respect that you deserve, you've found the wrong partner. And so, like, similar to what you said, I don't hesitate to leave that person, fire that person, and move on to the next partner. That's really going to get me to where I need to go, because I don't need people getting in my way.
Come on. Don't y'all hear that? Confidence? Don't get in my way. You will get fired. Because we talked about confidence a little bit already. What do you feel like is the strength of being a woman in this field? Because sometimes when we are a minority, you think, oh, I'm at a disadvantage. But what is the strength that being a woman in this field gives you?
I actually like being an underdog a little bit. I feel like it gives me the advantage, because if people underestimate me from the beginning, then I can only show up and show out the whole time. So I view it as just a challenge. And I think it's helpful, because then you also stand out in a lot of ways. It's also, if people are good people, and a lot of them are, they will end up impressed with you, even if they started off questioning you, which is always my goal.
So you over-deliver. And I think a lot of times as high achievers, we think that we have to work so hard, but your showing up is better than some people's work all night. And so that's amazing.
I think a strength is that even though we might not percentage-wise be the majority, like who I choose to surround myself becomes my majority. And so there's reasons why I'm in spaces like this, where when I think of a real estate investor, I think of 5 different women before I'll think of any men, because that's who I spend my time investing in. And so I think that helps me. And also I think it helps me realize, like, we might be seeing things and doing things that they may not see, just because of where they're coming from.
That's really good. And that's why community is so important, right? Because now this is normalizing us in this field. I love that.
I really thought about, being a woman and what that really brings to the table. I don't know. So at the end of the day, I just leverage my own personal skills, and I know that I have a lot of value to bring. And so I just lean really hard into that. I know I'm extremely detail oriented, and, potentially other people aren't. And so how can I leverage my own skills to get ahead, to, get my offer accepted, and to really get that client that I want to work with. And I think so regardless of whether you're male or female, it's about knowing your own strengths and using those to grow and to build your portfolio and your business.
I love that. I love the fact that you mentioned that you don't really even think about it, and not even from a negative or a positive. It's just a neutral, But for us as women, what someone might look at as a weakness of, oh, you're emotional or you're, too sensitive, is actually the way that you can connect with people, build relationships, see things that others don't see. Notice the details when you're staging a house that might appeal to the decision makers. And so, yes, maybe on the paper there are more male investors, but I'm pretty sure they're consulting the women in their lives when they're staging these houses or when they're making these decisions, and we influence more than we know. So
I wanted to add that uniqueness in our perspective is what brings value to the product that we're bringing to the marketplace.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever walked into a house and immediately you know if a man designed it. Because you're like, this laundry room is not functional. Like, this kitchen doesn't make sense with these things. And I'm like, no, not that every woman does laundry and is in the kitchen, but I'm like, I use these things frequently. I know, like, how to optimize the efficiency of all this, and that's because of who I am, and that's because I'm different than you. So that experience is valuable in business.
Super valuable. That's why, I love HGTV. And you look at the best shows, they have a duo, right? Like, we need each other, and as long as we continue to leverage that dynamic, we can be successful. Very good. Now, let's talk about safety, because I know I was just sitting in a message about Section 8 and the other, you guys going to look at different properties. How do you manage any concerns of your safety when you're visiting properties or working after hours in certain areas? What precautions are you taking? Or do you feel like you just strap up and go?
I'm an Enneagram 5-6, so I'm all about safety. I'm like, let's do it. One, I live and do real estate in the great state of Georgia. So I do carry, I'm just going to put that out there, in certain situations where I feel like it's necessary, or just carry other defense things on me. But another less aggressive approach, I guess, is I'll make sure someone knows where I am and what I'm doing and how long I expect to be there, whether that's my husband or someone else on the project or a friend, just someone knowing what's going on and where I am.
So I feel like I can't fully resonate. Being over in Canada, I do feel like it is relatively safe, so I feel like I haven't really had to put myself in unsafe situations. That being said, I am more of a passive investor. I do believe, again, on leveraging my strengths. I love being behind the scenes, managing things operationally, financially. And so a lot of the investments that I do are either joint venture partnerships where I have an active investor actually managing the property on the ground, and I'm more of the passive investor bringing the money to the table and managing some of the operational stuff behind the scenes. So I haven't really had to put myself into those situations. The other thing that I do is also private lending. So that's when you lend to other investors that are either looking to purchase or looking to renovate a property. And so again, I'm taking more of a passive approach to investing, and I can do that, in the comfort of my own home. And because I have a business and I'm putting my time and energy and capacity into my business, that's how I've managed it. And so I guess in doing that, I mitigate some of the safety risks.
I took an ignorance is bliss approach. That wasn't great. I ended up getting robbed at gunpoint after moving to the city, but I don't carry. So I just try to be super aware. So when I go into a place, I try to sit where I can see the front door. If I'm hosting an open house, for a while there, I was like, okay, I'm gonna put myself here, and I'm actually gonna leave the door locked. But if I see people walk up, then I can know how to greet them. So I try to just be more aware and be a little bit more smart. But yeah, you have to be aware and mindful. And then ultimately, especially because I've gotten into flips this year, I've driven by some flips, and I've kind of noticed, if I don't feel comfortable going there by myself, it's not going to be a good flip for me, because I need to be able to go unattended to these properties.
I was just about to ask that. Do you tend to go with others? But that's a good point for us, because sometimes we're just like, I'm just going to go with my partner or my spouse all the time, but that might handicap you in a sense. So very good advice. So as we close out, what advice would you give to other women who feel intimidated or, I don't want to keep using the term intimidated, but who want to get into this field and haven't done so yet? Who in here feels like, we know we're all investors, but who in here does not own more than one property right now? Raise your hand high. Because now if you raise it high, you see it's not just you. It's other people in here. So Keep your hand up if you do want to own more than one property simultaneously. Wonderful. So for these women whose hands are up, who took a chance of themselves, whether they don't own, either they own one property or don't own a property, to come to this experience, give them a round of applause, first of all. Okay. What advice would you get them on getting started? So outside of being intimidated, what advice do you think they need to go from being interested in being an investor to being invested in being an investor?
I would definitely say education and connecting with other women that are doing it, because they understand everything that you're feeling. And it's not that we're not intimidated. Even a couple deals in, I still feel that intimidation in my chest, sometimes in my stomach as I'm driving somewhere. And I created a playlist specifically for that situation.
Nice.
That has music that'll just try to get me hype, and then, you got to be a little bit relaxed when you get there. But the music is still working.
So you got some trap and you got some gospel on the way. I got it. Some coming in hot and then some, Maverick City. I get it.
I mean, I think we've said it on the stage before today, but the fact that you're here is huge. I think that many of you who made the investment to be here are hoping to see some change, and so continuing your education. I'm a coach in Erica's program, but I actually took her cohort a couple years ago, and I remember before I, paid my money to take it, I was like, all right, before I click this button, I'm realizing that pushing this button is the choice for me to now buy a next property, because I'm not going to invest in this and then not follow through.
Right.
So the fact that you've already been here, the fact that you've invested in that, just know that the next step is going to maybe feel as scary as the step it was for you to be here, and you're here. So you can do it.
I would say two things. So first, mentorship. I also started in a mastermind as well. That's what kickstarted my journey as a real estate investor. At the beginning, obviously, it seems like a lot to invest the money. And me as an accountant, I'm always looking for my return on investment. I can definitely say over the last 10 years, I've made way more than that initial investment. So I always look back at that, and I'm super grateful that I clicked that yes button and I jumped into it. The second thing I would say is to be relentless. As a real estate investor, and really anything in life, there are a million roadblocks you're going to hit. You're going to hear lots of no's. And if I let any of those no's stop me, I wouldn't be where I am today. And it's always been about living my dreams and designing that life that I want. And so don't let those no's get you down. Surround yourself with people that will give you yeses and that will help you find that yes, and to really just lean into those people.
I also think it's important that those no's, you see the value as them still being an investment in yourself. As women, young women, women of color, everybody's already discounting you. I don't have to be another one. I want to wake up every day and be like, I'm going to bet on myself, and even the no's work to my value.
I love that, because how many of us know that man that you should have said no to? I'm just saying. Or that no that he walked away and you see him 5 years later, like, woo, thank God. Thank God he said no to me. I saved a bullet, right? Same thing. That no that you didn't get might be that dud or that flop, right? So just know God is sovereign regardless. He's got you regardless. These women are people that you can reach out to. All of these women are connected to OILI in some way or another. I'm in the pathway. Coach Sherwood is in the pathway. We're in this experience for another 18 hours and beyond if you join in. Don't walk out of here thinking that you're alone. This is a family. This is a sisterhood. And we believe in you because, look, you have examples. If it's possible for them, as special as they are, they know much more special than you. So it's possible for you too.